We are live. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. What's up, people? Welcome to another wonderful pink flag.
Okay. Tonight's topic is family and friends. Not necessarily in that order. Um, it's one of those things like when you meet somebody, do they vibe with your people? Like everybody knows like that one date that you go on when you meet the friends.
Uh-huh.
What happens if they don't like you?
Right, right.
What happens if somebody got a brother or a sister, a sister in law, or even kids, and they don't like you?
You just don't mix. What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to fold and try to cater, or how do you deal with it? And that could be a very tricky situation.
So I
That
started dating a guy, and my son was still a teenager, and he was living with his dad.
mm-hmm,
And I was dating this guy, and they were cool. They were okay. Then my son came to live with me.
mm-hmm.
They were not cool because this guy was kind of like, it's your mom's house, it's your mom's rules. And my kid is like, it's my mom.
Right.
It's none of your business.
So they would just button heads like automatically.
To a degree, like, yeah, it was absolutely bananas. Like, my son was a young man child, and this guy was like a 50-year-old man child.
Mm. And both wanting to display their dominance in the house.
Yeah.
And to me, that's part of the problem. Like when you have a situation like that, to me, the adult should be the one that steps back and try to work on the situation, and even sometimes defer to you and let you deal with it and say, all right, this is what has to be done. Let's see if we could get this together. But people get caught up in their pride and their ego sometimes and don't know how to deal with things. So that can make things very awkward and unorthodox also. But with that being said, it's like if you're dating someone and you know your family, like you say you have a very outgoing family. Like my family, I know my family's insane. They get together, they party, they drink, they do whatever. If you have a person that's just going to sit in the corner and not engage, I already know that's a problem. I already know like they're not going to vibe. But now, how could I put it? What if you're dealing with this person and the person's a good person and just for whatever reason they're not mixing, they're not vibing, what are you supposed to do at that point?
In the
How
particular case of my crazy family,
uh-huh.
they will say nothing about it until the point comes when that person is no longer good to you, and then they come at you with like a laundry list.
Mhm.
Remember this day, and remember this day, and remember this day, and remember this day. That man is not for you.
And I would hate that worse than them speaking up in the beginning. If you feel some way, speak up in the beginning and say what you feel and get it over with. But sometimes sometimes things could be a little, I don't know, a little uneasy because of culture. it could be a number of different reasons. And you got to really think, is this person worthy of me dealing with and maneuvering through situations? Or is just this a situation where I got to be like, I don't want to even deal with it. So you do what you do, I'll do what I do. It was nice while I lasted, but I'm done. And sometimes that's the best thing. Sometimes you just got to be like, I don't want to be bothered, and just leave it alone. Because if you if it has to always be an issue when a person you're dealing with come around your friends or family, to me that's a problem. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's a big problem. It is definitely
Allergies.
the
Thank you.
thing that makes it not work
Hmm.
with friends and family is, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, but your friends always tell you, your real friends always tell you the truth."
Not
That's
all the
not
time.
necessarily true.
Not all the time. Not at all.
No, your friends try to do, your real good friends try to do what's gonna hurt you least,
Right.
because they don't want somebody else to hurt you, but they don't want to hurt you either.
Right. And your friends play their position.
Yeah.
They play their position. Oh my God, pardon me again. They'll
Oh,
play their position, and they don't want to, like you said, they don't want to hurt you. Also, sometimes they don't want to overstep their boundaries. So they're going to look at things in a different light. And it's like, all right, they're going to look at things to say, all right, I may feel this way, but I'm going to keep it to myself for right now. And that's it. So sometimes you're going to have to deal with it like that. And instead of engaging, they step back and just evaluate. And sometimes you have to understand, even though it's friends or family or whatever, your family's not always right. Your family could be judgmental. Your family could be, it could be a couple of things. So it's about how you go about it, how they go about it, and what do you think needs to be done. That's the importance.
I remember one time going to a party, and I walked in and I'm talking to the woman whose house it was, and I'm talking shit about my friend's man and how I'm so glad that she's rid of him. And my friend was like, I hate to break it to you. They'll be here as a couple in 5 minutes.
Wow.
Suck it up and get it together.
Hmm.
And I was like, I was not, like, I was really not prepared to suck it up and let it go. I,
But sometimes you have to.
what?
But sometimes you have to.
Yeah. Because once you reach a certain age, you have friends who have become family.
Right.
And they might not even be your friends. Like you might have one of your siblings has a really good friend who now shows up every Thanksgiving or every Christmas, and you kind of like dig hanging out with them. You don't make plans the two of you separately, but they kind of show up and they give off like a cousin vibe.
Right.
And they were never your friend, but they matter.
And you embrace them. So when
Yeah.
you embrace them, you gotta embrace all parts of them. And that's the hard part sometimes. And and as the person being part of the situation, like how do you go about indoctrinating yourself into this relationship when you're meeting someone's family and friends? Like you don't want to overdo it, you don't want to be overly friendly, overly aggressive, but then again you don't want to be too laid back, like you're not interested. So it like it things could be awkward, but you got to make it work for yourself. And that's how I look at it. You got to make it work. You got to step up, and you gotta. Everything in life is always about the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
So that's it. That's it. It's how you conduct yourself, how you converse. What do you feel is important to your significant other, your friend, whatever. It's like it's almost like when you start at a new job, you got to feel the room, you got to feel everyone out and see the vibe,
Yeah.
and that's what it is.
That's it. Read the room.
Yes,
That is a big, big deal. And if you can't read the room, you might not be mature enough for the situation that you're in.
that's true.
Like, my sister has a sister in law who's, I think she's 2 years older than me. Um, she got married around the same time I got married, like in the late 80s. And we had babies within a few weeks of one another. And like, I don't think I even had two conversations with her. I think maybe like at my sister's shower or something like that, I had a conversation with her. But
Hmm.
that was it. And I never much bothered with her. My sister would tell me about her and her baby and stuff like that. And I'd be like, oh, nice. Yeah, great. Then 15 years later, she and I are getting divorced at the same time.
Wow.
We've been great friends ever since. But it didn't even much matter, like back in the day, like in 1987 or whatever, when my sister met her husband, who she's still married to now. And I was like, wow, she's fancy. And I was like, I didn't vibe with her. Like, I just, whatever.
You were very different.
Yeah. But it turned out that we weren't. We were just like in different kind of situations. Like, she was the only girl and very protected by her mom. And my mom had a bunch of girls, and she was kind of like, go, go, go. Like, go do the things. Don't feel like you gotta sit in the house with me. Like, go
Hmm.
loose and see the world. And she wasn't raised like that. And then when she found herself getting divorced, the same time I'm getting a divorce. Thank you,
That,
Lois. Thank you.
you see, your hair is getting admired. Yes.
It was such a thing. But yeah, and speaking of my sister and her stylist, Sarah,
Hmm.
did a fantastic job. Like, I can't. Cece's Lounge Hair Salon in Brick, New Jersey. They just like whatever you need done, they do like amazing complex stuff. I know
You
this is
got
like
the hookup.
yeah. But anyway, getting back to same sister and her sister-in-law, it's you never know who somebody is. And I think still one of the things like she's so family oriented. She never misses anything. And I really always enjoy seeing her and sitting down and having a talk with her. And it's funny because it just sort of happened that way.
Yeah, sometimes you'll meet a person and right away you don't connect.
Yeah,
And
no,
you may think that this person and you have nothing in common, but
you, Lois, mwah, you and your beautiful husband and daughter, you always tune in. And she's tuning in from the UK.
wow.
She ain't hitting us up from the Bronx.
Oh, so hold up.
So we are international, my friend.
So and with her, it's late where
Great.
she's at. Yes. So yes, definitely thank her. Like because I know I have a friend that's out in England, and when we talk at any time like that, like it's late. So much respect to her for tuning in. Like that is definitely a mission. That's love. She loves you.
Oh, I love her back. I really do. I love her
Definitely.
back. Yeah. She's got she got the kind of love that we all look for.
Hmm.
Got married like a year ago, and she got the kind of love that we're all looking for. And yeah,
That's beautiful.
very beautiful.
But when you're dealing with situations where, all right, let's say you're a young lady, you met a guy, you really like him. You bring him around your family and you get the feeling like your family is not vibing with him. You really feel he's a good guy. You really feel that like you want to deal with him. How do you handle that?
See, I've done this in my years and years now, 19 years of being single. I've had that. Like somebody is I dated somebody for almost 3 years. And when we broke up, I found out that everybody I knew hated this guy.
Wow.
And there were moments where I sensed it. There were definitely moments where I ignored it. And there were other moments where I thought like we could have fixed it, but it was just like this man's life was a mess, but he was always trying to fix mine.
Mm, one of those situations.
Yeah, the same guy with my son was 20
Hmm.
and we decided to have a tree trimming party. And I was in legit fear that my son was going to stick that tree straight up his ass.
Oh, it was that bad, huh?
Oh, that night, that was the night that I had to like think really hard. Do I actually even wanna? Because it went back and forth. And I
Hmm.
told you they both tried, like the guy and my son at different points. They both tried. But it just came to the point where I didn't belong in that relationship, and whatever things my kid should have been doing and wasn't doing, or was doing and shouldn't have been doing, or whatever, it no longer mattered. I
The
was in,
vibe was just completely off.
and it was just completely off. Yeah. It was like I couldn't handle it. So it was one of those moments. He had to go. And a few weeks after Christmas, it was my son's birthday, and I'm like, "Are you ready?" He goes, "Can you tell them that they were going to change the time? Can you change the dinner reservations?" And I was like, "Ooh, sign from the universe."
Huh.
My son would never ask me to change the reservations for this guy's dinner. My son was the better person.
And sometimes you just have to understand, like, everybody's not gonna be best friends. Everybody's not gonna vibe.
No, and I don't even care if they were going to be best friends. Like, I don't even care. You know what? It's not, you're fully grown. He didn't get along with, um, his dad was in a long relationship at one point. He didn't get along with that person either. He was, whatever. And, but it didn't make him wrong. Just because your kid is bratty doesn't mean they're wrong.
Right. Right. That's true. And sometimes you gotta accept things for what it is, and you have to understand. But my thing is, like I said, if you're in a relationship with someone and your people aren't vibing with them, and you know they're really trying, what do you do now? Like, the person is putting everything across. They're really going out their way, trying to connect, and for whatever reason, your people just isn't vibing with them. And say, like, now they're not a bad person. Say you're in a situation where your people is wrong for whatever reason, and like I said, the person is trying, the person is giving it their all. You know that. What do you do?
Again, the 19 years of being single, been in this situation too.
Oh,
Years ago, one of my girls was like, she said Dave was not the guy.
mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was like, no,
Huh.
how could that be? How wrong could you be? How cruel? How,
Right.
how just completely mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
No, I don't know how she knew, probably from her own experience because she's been single even longer than I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she just could see something. It's something new, something that I didn't count on.
And sometimes it's like that. Sometimes people see, but see, my thing is, I'm saying, I'm looking at it different. What if the person you're dealing with is the good person, and your family or your friend are just completely wrong, or it ain't even that they're wrong. It's just like, for whatever reason, they're just not vibing. Your person didn't do nothing wrong. Your person is a good person. How do you deal with that situation?
I don't that's a new one because I know that I've thought that there's been lots of times I thought that. Like there
That's when it gets tricky.
Yeah, oh, it's absolutely tricky. There's lots of times I thought that. Like they don't know him like I know him.
Hmm.
But so far, my family and friends are generally right. They may not be right that day, but give it time to like marinate.
Right.
They right.
You're saying they're a good judge of character.
I think I'm saying that I'm not a good judge of character. I can get a read on somebody real quick,
Hmm.
but I don't know that I'm a good judge of character.
Sometimes, sometimes we get caught up in situations, and instead of instead of catching the signs, seeing the pink flags, we close our eyes to things. And when you do that, that's when you get lost, and that's when you let things slide through.
Oh yeah,
And, and that's how a person can come through the back door and slide up in there because you're so in on you're so caught up with them. You want them, and you're just turning a blind eye to certain situations. And I think we have all been there. Like, we have all been in situations where you know better, but you don't do better because, oh, this is a handsome person. This is a beautiful girl. I like, we laugh a lot. We have fun. But I tell people a lot of times when you're first starting out, everything is beautiful. We're joking, we're laughing, we're having fun, but that vibe isn't sincere. And
you
when the
can't
vibe
see
isn't
flags if
sincere,
you wear rose-colored glasses.
right, right. And when that vibe isn't real, that's a lot. That it's a lot to deal with. 100%. So you have to look at things for what it really is.
Yeah,
And like I said, if a person, but I look at it like, if I'm dealing with a woman and she's going out of her way, I know how some of my family can be. And if I'm dealing with someone and they're going out of their way and they're trying to integrate themselves and they're trying to be good people, I'm not going to hold her to a standard that I don't hold my family to either. Like, it takes two to tangle. So I don't expect, just because this is my family, you have to kiss anybody's ass. Like, no. I just want you to be respectful. If we're in certain situations, step up, do what you have to do, try to integrate and participate and do what needs to be done. But you don't have to sell your soul just to be a part of this. I think sometimes it's sad to say some people just don't vibe. Some people are never gonna be friendly with each other. Some people just, their auras clash.
yeah.
And as long as I look at it like, as long as you're not disrespectful, to a certain point, I don't even care. To a certain point, like you're not there for them, you're there for me. So at the end of the day, like I said, if I see you're making an effort and that effort just isn't working, I don't know. Like it is what it is. Like you owe nobody anything. And sometimes you just gotta chalk it up for what it is. Like, all right, we're not gonna be friends. We're never gonna hang out. But like I said, you're not there to be friends. You're not there to hang out. You're here for me. So let's see what's going on and take it from there.
Years and years ago, my older son's godfather and,
Hmm.
and I, who were very close, um, he met this woman, and everything about her was wrong for him,
Hmm.
which always leads me to the assumption that the sex must have been amazing. But, and hey, she was very cute. Like, she was just, I mean, she was like his type for days. And I guess, like, the sex must have been staggering. And I
Hmm.
gave this chick every chance imaginable.
Hmm.
I really like most people. Like I could go through the world. I love you till I don't. That is like my approach in the world. I love you till I don't.
Right.
But I gave her like 15 chances. And she would call me and whine and complain. And I had like a full-time job, two kids, a house, a dog, church commitments, all kind of shit. And she would just like call and complain, and I, yes, uh-huh, uh-huh, yes, yes, uh-huh, uh-huh. Finally I lost it. I was kind of like, I stopped answering the phone when she called. I just stopped talking to her. I pulled the plug, and I have no regrets. But me and my son's godfather were never the same after that.
Wow.
And I think that he felt like I kind of, when I pulled the plug on her, that I pulled the plug on him. But she was super controlling,
Hmm.
and that was like the narrative that was in his face. I cut ties, so my narrative was not being heard. Like whatever my feelings were in the matter, I never expressed them. I was just like, I love you till I hate you.
Right.
The minute I hate you, I'm
It's a wrap.
it's a wrap. Please forget I ever existed.
And sometimes that's how it has to be.
But
Some,
I ended up hurting somebody that I cared about, who I considered, who was like a friend
Mhm.
who became family.
Right.
And I think it also ended up hurting my kids and his kids. Like sometimes you just need to be the adult and speak up.
And I'm a person that in a situation like that, sometimes I'll just look at it like, listen, this is how I feel, this is how I see it. You may not agree, I respect but me and this person will never be friends. I understand that, but I'll like I said, I will show respect. We don't have to hang out. We don't have to engage, but out of respect for you, I'll keep it I'll keep it civil, but I already understand like we're never gonna be there on that level. And that's it. That's it. But it's about making the effort. It's about that person understanding like this is what I need from you. This is how I need you to react to this situation, and you take it from there. But like I said, sometimes people just don't vibe, and that's just part of life. Everybody's not going to be besties, but everybody should respect one another. And if it gets to a line where the respect isn't shown, then I could understand that. But if you're just dealing with a situation and it's just we go about things in life differently, so we just don't vibe on this, that's life. I could deal with that. I could deal with that. Because like I said, I know how I am also. And if I meet a young lady and I go to meet her family, I'm gonna be social. I'm gonna try to interact with them, but I'm definitely not gonna kiss anyone's ass. I'm not gonna sell myself out to be integrated into what they feel they need me to be. You have to be who you are. And if people can't accept that, I'm looking at it like, oh well, like I guess it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it. You have to be who you are. Period.
Yeah, no, you have to be your authentic self because if you're not, that's you can't live like that.
Right.
One of the things too, when you're not your authentic self, when you're trying to protect somebody else's feelings, when they meet your family,
Hmm.
you're not doing them any favors
Right.
because eventually all that shit is going to wash through. And then you can't help who you are. And the original you is just going to come out and it's going to be like, oh, how did that happen? It was always a problem. But I
Right.
just
But it it,
don't
it, it it also to me it also comes down to something we spoke about a long time ago. Say you're dealing with someone and you're a person, you're not a partier. You're not a bar person. You're not so you like you said, you gotta know your room, you gotta read your room. So you don't invite your significant other around a bunch of your friends that are party heads or they're always out in the club or the bar, whatever. You gotta understand what it is.
yeah.
Like it's funny. Like people think because I'm a guy, I would be in the strip clubs and stuff like that. I always told people I have never been the strip club guy, but I have friends that love the strip clubs. And they'll be like, "Yo, come on, Wise, come hang out." And I'm like, "No, that's not me." And I understand understood like that's not my thing. So don't put yourself in that situation where you're going to be uncomfortable, they're going to be uncomfortable, you're not having a good time, you're messing up their good time. You got to know what it is. And you have to deal with it accordingly. And when you deal with it accordingly, it makes more sense and things work better. So you set yourself up the right way, and a lot of these problems you won't have, and you won't have to worry about certain things because it's already understood. Like, I know this person doesn't do this, I know this person doesn't do that, so I won't put them together and have them hang out or anything like that.
No, I
So,
agree. I agree. And that's kind of the whole point of pink flags. Like you have to know yourself well enough
hmm,
to see what's going to be a problem.
right, right.
And I remember like I remember when I was doing the online dating thing.
Hmm.
You meet people, like I met a guy one time, I actually met a couple of guys who did not have driver's licenses for whatever reason.
Hmm.
That's cool. More power to you, but you are not for me. I'm sorry. If we were together for several years and due to medical reasons or something like that, you could not have a driver's license anymore, I would be 100% on your team. But if you're coming to me out of the clear blue sky and you don't have a driver's license and I got to worry about picking you up and dropping you off every time we got to go do something, I don't want no part of that. And I know that when I want to go and see my friends in the Bronx, my friends in Manhattan, my friends in New Jersey, my friends like wherever, my sister in New Jersey, my sister in Delaware, my niece in Delaware, my other nieces in New Jersey, like I don't have to worry about coming to pick you up and dropping you off and who's going to do what. And it's just not something I'm into.
Hmm.
You're supposed to be a full grown adult.
True.
What happened to your license? Oh, my ex wife racked up some tickets before we got divorced. Pay the tickets. Oh, but that's her problem, not mine. Was the car in your name? Then yeah, it's your problem. Sorry.
People don't get it sometimes, and they don't understand like the way things work is sometimes you have to sacrifice and you have to get out of your comfort zone. And that's one of the biggest problems. A lot of people are so scared to get out of their comfort zone, they don't understand how to react or what they're doing to make a relationship work or to, like I said, I feel if I'm dating someone and they're trying to bring me around their family, for one, I feel honored because you thought enough of me to say I'm worthy to be around your family. So because of that, I'm going out of my way and I'm definitely going to try to show your family that like I'm a good person. I know how to interact with others. I'm not going to sit there and be a stiff asshole the whole night or whatever. We'll try to converse. Now, say we're in a situation where like they always tell you, don't talk politics, don't talk religion, stuff like that. But if that comes up, depending on how I feel about the person, I'll try to navigate out of those conversations. If I know we have a completely different mind frame on the way things are dealt with or how I see things. Like I said, some things in life you just have to work around it. And you have to understand, like,
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. Because that exact thing.
right.
Like my father's 83 years old,
Hmm.
and he was a very good husband to my mom, and he's a very nice man. His politics are trash. His politics are trash. And every time he brings it up, I shut him down.
Mm.
But if you were visiting my family as my potential man and you told my 83-year-old father that his politics were trash,
Right. It like that to me that's common sense.
but it's not. But it's really not. Like you'd be absolutely surprised at how many people out there that you meet that feel bold enough. Like, yes, this elderly gentleman in the corner is not a perfect human being. He's not pretending to be a perfect human being. And yeah, you might have heard me say 17 times during the day, Dad, stop, your politics is trash. But if you
Mhm.
step to him, if you get in his personal space other than to pick a piece of lint off his lapel, I will end you.
But like I said, to me, in a situation like that, you have to understand and you have to know, like, all right, I know now when I'm around this person, we're definitely not going to speak politics. It's we're just gonna we'll vibe differently. I'll find something. All right, I know I can't fuck with him with politics, but
But he
maybe
can
I
talk
could talk
basketball with
sports.
you all day.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So
You
find
find something that you could work with, and you work with it. That's it. And like, but people get so caught up in their
differences.
right, and their ego and their pride takes control of them. Sometimes it has to be like fuck the ego, fuck the pride, and think of the person that you care about. This person is important to them. The old saying, fake it till you make it. Sometimes in life you fake it until you make it. You know this is in a person on a regular you would be best friends with, but I can tolerate you. I can deal with you in order to make my person happy. That's it. That's it. Like you deal with situations. And like I said, people get so caught up in their pride and their ego that they don't know how to let things go sometimes. And
This
and so,
there's an old saying, you can be right or you could be happy.
Right. There you go.
And
I'd rather be happy.
oh yeah. And I mean, be happy whichever way works for you. Because sometimes being happy is taking the path of least resistance. Like, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna sit down and shut up and, wait for dessert to be served. Or
Right.
sometimes the thing that will make you most happy is saying to somebody like, "Is it just me or is this whole thing bullshit?" But whatever the outcome is, you got to be prepared to take it.
Now that's the truth. That's
Yeah.
the truth. And you have to be able to say, listen, I like this person. I enjoy our time together, but we're only going to be whatever we are. Like, I know it can't go any further. So I gotta step back and reevaluate and deal with it. Because like I said, if you have a person that you know is doing their all for you and it still isn't working, everything isn't always meant to work. I'm sorry. Sometimes it is what it is, and like you would say, oh, the sex was great, but that's the only part of the relationship that was great. And if that's the only part of the relationship that's great, do you have a relationship or do you have a booty call?
You have a situationship.
There you go.
A
And
situationship.
can you deal with the situationship or do you keep it moving?
That's the whole thing. That's a choice that a lot of people have to make after after the pink flags, after they've overcome all the pink flags. Like there was no pink flags in play at the 1 month, the 3 month, the 6 month. 2, 3 years later, and you find that your relationship is 100% only sex and supper.
Right.
Where you going? Is that all you want for the rest of your life?
Hmm.
You want sex and supper.
And you have to understand that
And let's
100%.
go to bed. But here you are trying to plan your forever, and there's nothing that says like future. There's nothing that says family.
Right.
Like I always had fantasies of like all the years that Dave and I were together. Like he had kids and I had kids, and I would had these fantasies that like his kids and my kids would be like,
Great friends,
yeah,
one big happy mixed family.
no, it's just not ever going to be. And it's not exactly an elephant in the room, but would I like to find somebody who would kind of would I like to find somebody who wants something different? Do you
Hmm.
find like when does your family The family you're born into it, or the family of friends that you've created. When is your family more important?
Now that's a hard one.
At this point in my life, I will tell you that my family is more important than any romantic relationship. Like,
See, and I understand that. The only thing I would say about that, though, is like I said before, say the person that you're dealing with goes out of their way to try to integrate themselves into your circle. They're doing everything right, and for some reason, the person, someone in your circle just doesn't like them. Like I said, is it on them or is it on the person in your circle? Because if they're doing everything right, if they're going out their way to make your people feel like appreciated, make your people feel like, all right, this is what it is. Once again, like, what are they supposed to do? How far do you go? Like, say you're dating a guy and you bring him around, he brings you around his friends. What are you supposed to do? Like, you did everything in your power to make these people feel comfortable, to show these people you accept what they're about or whatever. How far do you go just to be a part of that circle?
oh, I remember trying really, really hard and really not ever feeling part of the situation.
Mm.
Somebody who's like, "Oh, my friends are my family." And I tried 100% really hard, and they never like came around and accepted me.
Hmm. And the thing with that is, if they don't accept you, like, oh well, I'm looking at it like that's life. That's life because you did everything in your power that you could do, and that's all I could expect. Like, that's it. So now, if you're not accepted, if they're not looking at you the way I feel they should look at you, like, the hell no. Like, it's just, nah. I don't even know what to say. But, like, with that being said, family family is important. Friends are important, but my sanity is more important.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
I'm not gonna go crazy for nobody. But
No, and you've proved it time and time again that you are not going to turn yourself inside out just to have some person in your life.
right, I would rather be alone
Yeah.
than
And
be miserable.
that's admirable.
Right, than to be miserable and try to integrate myself into people that don't want me around. Well, nah, I'm good. I'd rather not deal with that. But to me, the way I break it down is when it comes to, as I always say every week, I say the same thing. Everything is about conversation, everything is about respect. We could work past everything if we know how to respect one another, if we converse, get things off our chest, try to understand one another, empathize for one another. I can't expect more of a person I'm trying to date than the people that's already within my circle. If you know I'm feeling someone, you try to work with it. But if you see something you feel I don't see, and we're supposed to be friends enough to say, hold up, I'm not quite feeling. And if we're really friends, I'm not gonna say just because you say that I'm gonna break up with that person right then and there. But I will at least take it and think about it and maybe try to evaluate and see what's going on and deal with things accordingly. That's it.
That is it. That's the most important thing. Like, do when you do right by yourself, for yourself,
Hmm.
chances are you're not doing wrong to anybody else.
That's true. And that's the most important thing to me. That's how I look at it.
Because, like, you
And,
respect others,
hmm.
but respect yourself.
Very important. At the end of the day, that's the most important thing. Respect yourself, respect your values, respect what you're about. And things will work its way. Either way, it'll work itself out.
Yeah.
But you got to respect yourself and respect your values. That's the most important thing. But I guess I'm looking, our time is up for this week. And I definitely appreciate your girl checking in from England. I
From Wales,
appreciate,
actually.
wow, okay. I appreciate everyone else checking in. We'll be back hopefully next Tuesday. It's always a pleasure, Barbara. By then, we'll figure out what we're going to talk about.
Ah, hmm. I was thinking May is Masturbation Awareness Month.
Well, okay. I guess we all have done that.
Yeah. We could talk about self-love.
Self love is the best love. That's
Yeah.
it.
If you can't love
Definitely.
yourself, then you
That
shit out of luck.
definitely, definitely. All right. So next week is self love, everyone.
All right.
All
And
right. Have a good one.
all right. During the
All
week,
right.
love
All right.
yourself.
Love you. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.